It's the day many royal watchers have been waiting on. Royal author Omid Scobie's new bombshell book Endgame hits shelves today, described as a penetrating investigation into the current state of the British monarchy. The book's description adds, an unpopular king, a power-hungry heir to the throne, a queen willing to go to dangerous lengths to preserve her image, and a prince forced to start a new life after being betrayed by his own family. Included are a number of new claims and allegations about the royal family, including Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, King Charles, Prince William and the Princess of Wales. No comment has been made by Buckingham Palace despite a number of attacks on senior royals, as writes The Mirror. These are the biggest bombshells to arise so far. King Charles gave warning about Harry. King Charles and Prince Harry's relationship is one of the main areas of examination in the book, which claims that Charles issues a stark warning about his son to the other members of the family. According to the book, Charles was cautious to have open discussions with Harry after the publication of his tell-all memoir Spare earlier this year, in which he made a number of accusations about his relatives. In the autobiography which got the whole world talking, Harry gave his version of personal stories, including that his father did not hug him after his mother Princess Diana tragically died. Harry also claimed that his brother Prince William physically attacked him during a heated argument at Kensington Palace and went into detail about the feud between the Princess of Wales and his wife Meghan Markle. In Endgame, a source is quoted as saying that the king wanted to limit their discussion to a harmless exchange. The source added, concerning Harry, the message that circulated in the family was not to trust him. Everyone took it very seriously. Charles branded Harry a fool in the wake of the Netflix series, as well as having concerns about Spare. It's also claimed that Charles was less than delighted about Harry's claims from Netflix documentary Harry and Meghan, which was released at the end of 2022. After already making allegations to Oprah Winfrey in 2021, Harry went on to share more personal stories in Spare and the Netflix show. Scobie claims that after the 6 sequels-part documentary series aired, at the palace, heads were in hands and migraines were brewing. He describes how the show took the wind out of everyone's sails, and quotes an aide as saying about Charles, he went from not wanting anyone to talk about his son to openly criticizing that fool. Charles was invited to Lilibet's christening but declined. The king was not in attendance at his second-born granddaughter's christening in California earlier this year. The new book claims that Charles had been invited but was forced to decline due to scheduling conflicts. But it's further claimed that the monarch is kept in the loop about what 2-year-old Lilibet and Archie, 4, are up to by Harry and Meghan, who also send him photo updates. Harry and Meghan hurt Archie and Lilibet's titles were not given straight away. Archie and Lilibet were technically eligible to use the titles Prince and Princess as soon as their grandfather ascended the throne. However, the official title change wasn't announced until 6 months after Charles became king, when it was updated on the official royal family website. This was more of a delay than the time it took to change the titles of the Prince and Princess of Wales. Endgame claims that Harry and Meghan were hurt by this. The book also alleges that Charles avoided the subject until early 2023, when he is claimed to have told his son the change would be made official, but it wasn't until another month later that a press secretary told Harry and Meghan's team it would finally happen. Mr. Scobie writes, the palace blamed the delay on the site's periodic update schedule but refused to explain why they didn't just change the titles at the same time as publishing William and Kate's new Wales titles in September 2022. They see the way their children are treated differently and that's hard to feel comfortable with, said a friend of the Sussexes. Charles' stubbornly hard to pin down about coronation invitations to another big event are also focused on in the new book, as it's claimed that Harry and Meghan were unsure if they were going to be officially invited to King Charles' coronation in May. Harry ended up attending alone while Meghan stayed at home in California with Archie and Lilibet. Endgame claims that the pair found Charles stubbornly hard to pin down about what was happening. The book states, Charles' response to Harry's inquiries about his attendance were vague at best. "I haven't decided," he told his son during an early February phone call that Harry initiated, and it was only by the end of March that the invitation was confirmed. Princess Anne was behind Frogmore Cottage eviction earlier this summer. Harry and Meghan were officially vacated from the Frogmore Cottage they were gifted by the late Queen following their 2018 wedding. In March, it was confirmed by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex that they'd been asked to leave their UK base, which led to Harry heartbreakingly asking, according to claims in the book, "Charles, you don't want to see your grandchildren anymore." The book also alleges that it was the Princess Royal who persuaded Charles to withdraw the use of the cottage in Windsor from the couple. Scobie claims that Anne was at the forefront of the supporters of the firm approach which the palace took. Harry and Meghan claim to have once supported, though in the shape of Harry's uncle, Prince Edward, who allegedly felt uneasy about the mental health effects on the pair. Meghan Markle told King Charles of two royal racists. One of the biggest allegations to come out of Harry and Meghan's chat with Oprah Winfrey in 2021 was that a member of the royal family had once raised concerns about how dark Prince Archie's skin would be when he was born. In Endgame, it's alleged Meghan had named two members of the royals who made the comments, and that she wrote private letters to Charles about the issue. The king is said to have been keen to ensure his reply had no casual prejudice in it, as the letters were written in the spring of 2021, after the televised interview with the US talk show legend. Scobie doesn't reveal the two names because laws in the United Kingdom prevent me from reporting who they were. Kate shudders when Meghan is mentioned. It's common knowledge now that relations between the two sisters-in-law weren't great, and the pair are not in contact at all. In Spare, Harry recounts several times that his wife had issues with Kate from the beginning, and he claims they had a row over bridesmaid dresses in the lead-up to his wedding that left Meghan in tears. Endgame claims Meghan and Kate haven't spoken since 2019, and that Kate can be seen shuddering when the former actress is mentioned. The book adds the Princess of Wales immediately detected a rival in Meghan, and adds, she spent more time talking about Meghan than with Meghan. Kate works part-time and has unflattering nickname. Endgame goes deeper on the Princess of Wales with further claims that she works part-time and has the nickname Katie Keane. This is because, according to the book, Palace Press Office aides work to make her workload easier because she's keen to learn, implying that she does less than the rest of the firm. Scobie claims that other working parents can only dream of being in the same position as Kate, and that she does not plan to increase her workload for 10 to 15 years until her children are grown. He writes, the late Queen, too, would take off blocks of time throughout the year to recharge, but she was also known to carry out at least 300 engagements annually. Sources said Kate remains laser-focused on her duty to the family first, and then the crown. Where other senior royals are out and about several times a week, meeting people across the length and breadth of the country, Kate has long maintained a smaller work schedule that helped her check off the required royal boxes while saving time for her roles as a mother and a wife. He also slams Kate as cold and claims she ignored Meghan's cries for help and had no interest in being friends with her sister-in-law. Kate and Sophie went out of way to ignore Meghan. Endgame claims that it wasn't just Kate who had issues with the newest member of the firm, but that the Duchess of Edinburgh also ignored Meghan during the Queen's funeral last year. The book claims that Harry and his wife were on the receiving ends of snubs and brush-offs throughout the period of time they were in the UK for the event. It adds that Camilla, Kate and Sophie noticeably went out of their way to ignore Meghan outside Westminster Abbey. A source tells Mr. Scobie, they did their best to remain focused on the importance of the trip and honouring Her Majesty, but being dragged into the royal fold again was an unpleasant experience. So little has changed, the same old power trips and dancing around various protocols. Royal Screw-Up by Edward and Sophie. Sophie is in the firing line again in the book along with husband Edward, as Scobie claims the pair added yet another page to add to the history of recent screw-ups. The author was referring to remarks by the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh following Harry and Meghan's explosive Oprah interview. Days later, Edward and Sophie shared a laugh about the bombshell interview with The Telegraph, jokingly replying, "Oprah who? And what interview?" when asked whether or not they'd tuned in. Scobie claims those comments about the world's most successful black woman and one of the biggest faces in entertainment made them seem stuffy or tin-eared at best, and casually bigoted at worst. He continues, Sophie's Oprah gaffe is yet another page to add to the history of recent screw-ups. The royal author argues that Sophie and Edward's remarks could also be used as evidence to support the notion that the British monarchy is an intolerant organisation steeped in bigotry and privilege. Harry kept in dark about late Queen's health. Harry was allegedly kept in the dark about the declining health of the Queen in her final hours. Scobie claims that Harry and Meghan had no idea the rest of the family were preparing for the monarch's death, as they arrived in the UK for other engagements. He writes, by the next morning, the Sussexes had no idea that Buckingham Palace was already planning for the Queen's final hours and the first days of the monarchy's new era, until the Duke's phone started ringing. An unknown number. He usually ignored those. In the book it's claimed that Meghan had urged her husband to answer the phone just before it stopped. The book continues, Harry hadn't spoken to his father much that year, but this was not the time for any father and son tension. Charles told him he and Camilla were about to leave Dumfries House for Balmoral, where Princess Anne was already by the Queen's side. He told Harry to make his way to Scotland immediately. The book further claims that Harry had asked William if he could travel up to Aberdeenshire with him, but he was ignored and he was left to operate in the dark. Camilla thanked Piers Morgan for defending firm amid Meghan claims. Queen Camilla allegedly shares a close relationship with Piers Morgan and quietly thanked him for defending the firm in the wake of Harry and Meghan's explosive Oprah interview, according to the book. Piers famously stepped down from Good Morning Britain after refusing to apologise for calling Meghan Princess Pinocchio, and he's always denied he had any contact with Camilla over it. You can purchase Omid Scobie's new book Endgame, Inside the Royal Family and the Monarchy's Fight for Survival here.